Hi Lou.
Hi, Nay. How's it going?
Really good, thank you, my babe. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting into the Christmas spirit now that it's December. Although I still haven't got the decks up yet, but I'm planning on doing it this weekend. I'm getting there
Nice.
slowly,
Love
mentally.
that.
Have you got the decks up yet?
No, we're not doing ours this year because we're going away for Christmas. So
Oh,
we're being
lush.
Scrooges.
Oh no, it's such a just don't deal with any of that. Just go
Uh,
away. Great
well, that's
idea.
the
Great
thinking,
idea.
exactly. So super excited today because we are having another lush guest chat on the pod. We are joined today by Han Mosby. So Han, aka socialhan, if you know her on the gram, is a digital marketing expert who focuses on blending creativity with strategy to get the best results for her clients. Hi Han.
Hello, I love that intro. I'm stealing that.
Well, it's off your website, babe. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Can you tell someone else wrote my website copy for me if I don't?
Yeah.
Well, they've done an excellent job because I think that
Very,
describes
very
you
good.
down
Yeah.
to the ground.
Yeah, I love that. Sums me up really well. I'm gonna go and find that after this.
Good. So for anybody who might be listening who doesn't know you yet, can you tell us a little bit more about you and what you do?
Yes. So I am a marketing strategist, which essentially when I say that, people always ask, okay, but what does that mean? So I help female coaches and creatives with emails, socials, launches, kind of you name it, it comes under that remit. And myself and my wonderful team that I now have help, provide all of that for people and get them more visible around the globe and all the good stuff.
All the good stuff, all the stuff that every small business owner on the planet needs. And marketing, we'll get into this throughout the conversation. There is nothing more overwhelming than starting a business and realizing that you have to be your own marketing expert. And it's like, wow, there's a lot to it.
Yeah. And just how much time that you need to put into it as well to get kind of those results. And it's one of those things that I think a lot of small business owners goes, well, I can do that. I know how to use Instagram. I know how to go on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. I know how to do those things, but there's just so much more to it than I think anyone's ever expecting when they start a business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because of the generations that we've grown up in and like having the internet available to like most people now, we go in as well with that like personal background of how to use it. So how you might do like hashtag I love my cat on a post, which probably isn't the most strategic or successful hashtag to use, but we all go in with that like knowledge from developing our own personal socials. So then switch to business is such a whirlwind and can be so overwhelming so quickly.
Yeah, totally agree. We will dive a bit deeper into all of that because you are such an expert, such a pro in all of this stuff. So we can't wait to chat a bit more. But I think it's always good to just have a little quick warm up before we dig in. So we like to do a couple of quick fire questions. So you ready to get going with those?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So quick fire question number one. What is the best piece of marketing advice you've ever heard or received personally? It's a biggie to get started.
That is a big one. Oh my goodness. I feel like my answer would change depending on what day you ask me, but I think the kind of like underlying message or theme that I've stuck to and have been so grateful is my truth in marketing is to be yourself. And I think you hear that so much and you're never really quite sure what it means, but then actually the more you lean into it and the more you go, yeah, okay, like when I bring stuff out that feels good and it feels like me and I'm just myself and like you're the same online as you are offline, wonderful things happen in your business. So yeah.
Love that. I think that's so important. Authenticity is just so underrated in the marketing world. And I just love, seeing people really embrace that. Yeah. So quick fire question number two. What is your favourite way to wind down after work?
I'm a terrible boundary person that I work and work all evening. But realistically, probably a book. I really
nice.
So I love it. Yeah, that's probably my like escape because it's non-screen time.
Yeah, and I know that Louise will agree with this. I'm a big reader as well, but I also love telly. I love movies. I love computer games, which means I go from screen to screen to screen. I'll go from the big screen to the little screen to the medium size screen.
Yeah,
literally.
So God almighty. But I hear you on the boundaries. I don't have any kind of work boundaries really at all.
No.
Oh God. Okay. And then the last quick fire question: what is the best investment that you've ever made in your business?
Oh, I've done a lot of investing recently, actually. Past 6 weeks, I would say, has been huge money mindset change with that.
Love that.
Absolutely terrifying. But my team, like my team, at the end of the day, outsourcing everything that I'm either not like the number one expert in, or that someone else can do better than me as well. And getting those specialists in, that has been such a game changer, not even for my time, because like I said, no boundaries, and I will just take on more clients if I've got free time. But I think just for my creativity, because I don't think you realize how much it drains, and I'm sure you two get this as well, but you don't realize how much it drains your creativity when you're doing a task that isn't your like favorite thing. Just because you could do it, doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely. There's so many admin jobs. Me and Louise have this conversation pretty much every day, where it's like 11:30 in the morning. We're like, done anything useful yet today? You're like, no, just been kind of answering emails and slogging through the admin. So yeah, it's, I can't wait until we're at the point where we can have a team as well. I'd love the idea of having a team.
I think it's also knowing like that point where I can do it, but this other person would do it in probably half the time and so much better, in like a way better performant way as well, isn't it? So you go kind of work out those trade-offs, isn't it? So but we'll get there. But well done, Han, smashing it, growing.
Love it. Yeah. I'd love to hear you talking about like the money mindset shifts as well, because we really do hold ourselves back a lot, I think, as women with money. So hearing small business owners like investing and getting serious about what they want, just music to our ears. We absolutely love it.
Yeah. I think with investing as well, like my coach I work with at the moment, she always says this, but like living in monopoly money, like we forget what our past wage was, or like what we would do with money before business. So for me, I'm now investing more in my team every month than I was getting paid in my full-time job, which I'm like, what? How is that real? How is that possible? And I mean, amazing that I can do that and give my clients a better service and everything off the back of it. The money mindset around that, like you are your own biggest obstacle when it comes
100%.
to I am not an expert at all in like money mindset stuff, but I am also so aware of how much it holds us back in everything we do in business. So
love it. So cool. Right then, let's get into the meat of it, I think, for today's episode. So we are going to be talking all things visibility, how to grow your visibility in 2024, how to reach more of your ideal customers than ever. So the first thing that I think that we should dig into is all about kind of where to show up and your target audience. So something that I'd love to ask you, because this comes up all the time, do you think it's important to niche, or do you think that it's fine to be a generalist and just do whatever it is that you want to do for random clients all the time?
My opinion on this has gone back and forth so much over the years, and I know you've had Seals on here before, who was like queen of niching. And I worked with her actually to find my niche, and I niched down into female coaches recently because everything in business is fluid and nothing is ever just decided and done.
Totally.
My services have kind of niched into more content creation and like Instagram support, not even intentionally, but just the way it's gone and what I love to serve my clients with at the moment. So I definitely think having a niche is worthwhile, but I think the pressure to find your niche so early on is complete BS. Like, how the hell are you supposed to know what you want to do so early on? Like, you have to work with all these different people to figure out who you like working with, what you like doing. You can't just decide, you don't pick your A levels having like not done the subjects, or like your GCSEs having never like not knowing what these things are. Yeah, like too much pressure.
I love that, actually. Yeah, like the idea that, yes, it is good to niche, as in to help with some sort of direction and to be clear about marketing and voice and all those kind of things. But it doesn't mean it's fixed. Like with all things in business, that can pivot as, as your audience changes, as you change, as the business grows, as the industry changes. Yeah, that's such a valid point, that it's not like, well, I chose this niche like 5 years ago, so I've got to keep doing the exact same thing. It doesn't work like that. That'd be too easy.
Yeah.
I think that really sort of leans into something. I always get really sad when you're in kind of Facebook groups or Instagram chats or something with someone who is very new to business and they're having like their first or their second bad client experience. And it's like pushing them to the edge. And there's a part of you that you can't say it, but like as someone who's been doing it for years, you're like, oh no, you need this. Like you need to have this bad person so that you know how to get the good people. And I guess it's kind of like that. You have to work on things at first that you don't necessarily like, so you can say, no, rule that out, not for me, this is where I want to focus.
I love that so much, because it is true, the bad clients will teach you so much more than the good clients in business.
And
it's
definitely
horrible, because you don't want to be grateful to those bad clients either, because like good riddance, like I don't want to say thank you for that experience, but equally, yeah, you do learn a lot more, and you learn where your boundaries are, and I say not anything of my own, but yeah, you do take so much more away from that experience. It shapes your business.
Totally. And I think it puts you on the path to best practices way quicker than like just sort of, you're never going to follow a rule book step by step, but you'll have one client that doesn't pay and then you'll have a watertight contract for the rest of your life.
That is so true. Yeah.
Cool. So another one that we kind of like to go into a bit is like, how do you find the right clients for your business? Like how do you find them? Where are they all sitting? Where are they all hiding away from you?
I love that. I wish there was one place where they could all be, I could point everyone towards. I believe strongly in attraction marketing. So the concept of like finding your clients isn't something like, I don't do outbound like cold outreach. It's not my cup of tea. I'd much rather people come to me from recommendations, or finding me through my content, or like connecting with me through networking or an event or something like that. That feels so much more authentic and aligned to me, and it's what I help all of my clients with in organic marketing rather than paid, because I think the right people find you. And that's such a hard thing as well, because no one wants that. They want to know, okay, but what do I do to get it? And there isn't one place that they are. They're everywhere, and it can feel like they're nowhere. But even if you feel like you've got an audience full of people that aren't your ideal clients, they will know someone that's an ideal client. So everyone has connections, like, and as soon as you start thinking of it like that, because clients come to me and they're like, oh, I've got 300 followers, and they're friends, family, and none of them have a business, or none of them are an ideal client. And I say, okay, but all of them know hundreds of people that could be filled with your ideal clients. So I think they're all around, which no one likes that answer. I feel like I'm going to give a lot of answers today that no one's actually going to like, but it's my opinion. So
I think that is the truth, and the reason that people don't like that sort of thing, because I don't like to hear that sort of thing either, even though I know it's the truth, is because what that means is you have to be consistent and like for long term. It means that you can't just get on Instagram and fill your roster with clients in a week, because you have to kind of build that brand and allow people to get to know you, which obviously brings in better quality customers, but it really does rely on you trusting the process, which I think for people who are control freaks like me, we don't like to do that. We like to kind of be in control of the process. But you're absolutely right, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I think the hard part about marketing as well and that consistency is you just feel like you're shouting into a void. Like if you're not getting anything back as well, you're like, why am I doing this? Am I kind of seeing that? But I love that idea. It's a very positive outlook, I must say, as well. Of like they are everywhere. They're just kind of like, and they'll know someone who knows someone. That's such a it's a very positive outlook. I love that idea. That's definitely, it feels a lot better rather than going, oh well, my mum likes it every single time we post something. That's not overly helpful, is it? You know?
Yeah.
Bless her.
No, and
Yeah.
I think so many of us start off with family and friends following us, and they are the engagement we get, and it's lovely because it's nice support. Equally, I did like block my parents as soon as possible, just because no thank you, I don't need you commenting on that I need to get my roots done or like whatever, mum, like it's okay, thank you.
Love mothers, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like in the office, like you don't need to know. But that doesn't mean it stays that way, and it can be such a slow burner at the start as well. Like I do remember having that and being stuck at like 400 followers, and it drove me mad because I was so numbers obsessed. But they do find you, and I think whenever someone comes to me and says like, I'm trying to get sales, I've posted like every day for 2 weeks, like why is it not happening? And I just like want to zoom out, because 2 weeks is a drop in the ocean of your business. If this is your lifelong legacy business that you are doing forever and you're never going to go and get a job, like you're doing this till you retire, hopefully quite early, then like 2 weeks is nothing. 2 weeks is setting up, not even setting up, like
no,
I would say 6 months to a year is probably when you start getting those clients and those high ticket clients, and you have a reputation. And I mean, how much you show up and how consistent you are obviously speeds up the process, but there isn't that one magical place where they will live, or that one magical post that you're going to put out and is going to change everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. I've tried for years.
Yeah, there's some magical wording that will just make them all flock to me, something. It's not, as you said, it's consistency, it's the repetition, you have to keep showing up, but it's so hard.
I would love to like unpick that consistency word a little bit, because I think this is something that gets thrown around a lot and it frustrates people because nobody really knows what it means. So when we're talking consistency, does this mean we need to be posting every single day? We need to be, posting at the same time every day? What does consistency mean in social media?
So consistency is the backbone of good marketing, and no one wants to hear that, but consistency is not constantly. And I think we can think it is, and I think especially when we think like, oh, if you're consistently going to the gym, okay, you're going 5 days a week every single week for the rest of your life, and like that's it. It's almost like a ride that you can't get off, and that terrifies people because they think, okay, but what about half term, and what about if my kid gets sick, and what about if I get sick, or Christmas Day, like whatever is coming up, how can I do that? It's like setting yourself up to fail by saying I'm going to be consistent now, so people don't commit to it, or there's a hesitation and a fear about being committed. But actually consistency looks different for everyone, and you don't need to be posting every day. I'll start with that. The amount of people that ask and say, should I just be posting like a reel a day, every day, 7 days a week? No, goodness, no. How boring. Like, you must be so sick of that, creating that content by then. No, don't do it. Like, never. I've never said to a client, post 7 days a week or post twice a day, 7 days. Like, it's so unnecessary. And the longevity of what you do is far more important. It's way better to be posting twice a week, every week, for 2 years than every single day for 2 months.
And finding consistency of your message and of your brand as well, rather than just like this focus on consistency of timings and like the amount of content you're putting out, actually getting really consistent with who you are and what you're all about, right?
Yeah, and letting that develop with you as well, learning from it, because it's not about regurgitating the same wording every time and, reposting or repurposing something every 2 weeks. It's about yeah, it's almost like business development that comes from the consistency. And that's with everything, isn't it? I mean, it's like updating your SEO on your website, or updating like your hashtags every quarter, or anything like that. Like, consistency in marketing is so much more than just posting or being visible or showing up. And I know we're talking about visibility, but it is more than that. It's, you know, emailing your list, or whatever platforms you want to be on. I mean, I sway toward Instagram always. But yeah, your consistency can look different. You've got to find a rhythm that feels good for you, and roll with that and let it evolve with you as well.
Yeah, focus on the marketing tools that you actually enjoy, because if you're, I mean, we've done similar things. We've tried and failed with LinkedIn maybe 10 separate times, because we have this kind of overarching feeling that we must be doing this, we should be on LinkedIn, everyone's on LinkedIn, and then we get on the platform and we're like, I hate it here.
Yeah.
So, you know, you torture yourself with it, but actually, is it doing you any favors long term? With that time be better spent on a platform like Instagram or like our email marketing that we actually enjoy?
Yeah. LinkedIn is a special breed of hell. I honestly believe this. And there's marketers that love it, and great for them. They've got communities on there. They do really brilliant things. And, you know, there's definitely a place for every business on there. It is not my cup of tea. I mean, my dad's boss follows me on LinkedIn, and I posted a picture of me on a holiday before, and I was in like a bikini top. Oh, and my dad's boss, I'm so sure, either saw it or my dad saw it or something. And I was just like, I'm never again. Like, I just can't do it. I can't sit on LinkedIn in a blazer, you know, using big words. It's not who I am as a person. And it feels like it's what the platform wants me to be. So LinkedIn.
Yeah. It gets very like achievement based, doesn't it? I've landed this, I've achieved this. And you're like, well done, everyone. Cool.
Yeah. Or even the irony of people like almost like mocking that LinkedIn post of being like, I've managed a cup of tea today, and that's okay. And do you know what? Not every day is about huge wins and business growth. And it's like,
oh my God, that's so true.
Where you're going. Like,
do you see that? Yeah, you haven't actually reinvented the wheel at all with what you've just done there. You've very much jumped on the bandwagon. And like you say, we know loads of people who are on LinkedIn who are really authentic on the platform. They make it their own. They've got huge communities. They really roll with it. Like, some people are just great at that. It just doesn't suit our style, the same as you. It just never feels quite right. And I don't know if people are going to agree with this or not. I find Instagram really free. I find LinkedIn quite judgy. I always feel like, because it's old colleagues, it's your old boss, it's your parents, you know, work friends. It doesn't feel like that kind of inclusive space. And I always feel like I'm being watched on LinkedIn in a way that I don't feel on Instagram. Do you think that's true as well?
Yeah. And I think that feature that's like 7 people checked out your profile,
that's it.
I want to know that. I mean, okay, you can go and find that out on Instagram at like your profile visits in analytics, but I don't get notified about it. Like, it makes you so paranoid and overthink everything. And then when you overthink, you like sugarcoat or you strip back anything you were going to say, and it removes so much of the personality, or it did for me anyway. But I think the hesitations we have about any platform, my example being LinkedIn, is because of like preconceived ideas about the platform. So I've got all of the people I went to uni with connected with me on there, and sharing what you do is almost like saying like, this is my result, like this is what I became. And okay, I'm very proud of having a marketing agency, like it's a wonderful thing, but like I did a degree in art, so to then, and that leads beautifully into what I do today, because I'm a designer first and like a strategist second. But there's other people that are artists, like painters and writers and stuff like that, and they do that full time. And it's almost like they've won the race because they did the thing. And they did the most undiluted version of what that degree allowed them. And that just, it holds me back so much in my head, because I'm like, do I look like a really like commercial, like, you know, money hungry version of all these people trying to create beautiful sculptures and things.
Mm.
And I'm like trying to build an empire kind of vibe. It's like, oh, it's icky. It's so icky.
Yeah, you are the man. You are the bad,
Yeah.
evil corporation man. That's what I think of, Han. Yeah. Oh, like, how
100%.
do you, yeah, how, like, do you have any advice on like how to kind of tackle that, like about like showing up in just that fear of judgment? As an introvert myself, even on Instagram, which is so welcoming and lovely, but I know at the start I've gotten better, but just being on camera and showing my face all the time, it's still something that I feel I should hold back, or I should be a certain way. Do you have any like advice for people to get out there?
Yeah, this is a really common problem, and I think everyone goes through it when they're building their business. But the first thing I would say, again, people won't like, but is to recognize that problem is, it's within, it starts with you. It's not the platform, it's not the people, it's not the judgment, like it's your fear and that kind of ownership of it. I'm not saying get rid of it or like, you know, just pretend it's not there or like none of that. Like just embrace and acknowledge it and just know that, okay, I am scared of this. There's a hesitation here, a block. It's a mindset thing, but it's mine and I'm in control of it. And then the second thing to do, which I think I need to talk about more because I'm not sure enough people know this, but it's almost like if your fear of visibility is platform based, then is your target audience like, first, okay, this is more of like a platform thing, but is your target audience on that platform? Do you feel confident with that platform? Do you want to build a community in that space as well, I think is another thing. And then if all of those are yes, and it's still a mindset thing, like you have got to push past it, which and it will get easier with time, and it is practice, but yeah, it's so difficult, that visibility thing. And it's different for everyone because they will have a specific thing or specific like content type that freaks them out. For me, it was going live. For other people, it could be like talking on stories or like showing your face or like owning your story, like any element. It could be that specific thing that terrifies you, but just work your way up to doing it. Like I went live for the first time and it went really well, and I actually really enjoyed it last month. And no, it's December, 2 months ago. And it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I did it and I conquered it. And then actually I came off it and was like, oh, okay, like,
I got that up in my head. Yeah.
It's always such a nothing thing. And I think like we always say this to people about anything to do with whether they're putting like a picture of their own face on their website for the first time and they've never done that before, talking about themselves as an I instead of a we, which takes quite a bit of bravery as like a small business owner. We say it in a nice way, but people don't care. I promise you that like no one is watching the first time you do a talky story and going, haha, what a dick. No one's doing that. Like, honestly, they're not. And if there's anyone in your life that you're worried about doing that, they shouldn't be on that account because they're going to get in your way of doing good things.
Yeah. And also I think it's that idea as well. I found it helped me of being like, this is something new. I will be bad at it. The first time that like, so me and Dave recorded our talks and workshops, I was awful. I am like stuttering. I am like getting like faster and faster as the time goes on, you know. And now when we record it now, I've obviously still got a long way to go with public speaking, but the difference is incredible. And I think it's that idea of like, this is like, that was the first time you're going live and you're going to keep doing it, you know, and you have to keep doing it. That's the only way that we get better. No one's expecting you to be like, it's the first time they've done it, they're going to be great at it. They're obviously going to have like, you know, be a model for like photography, you know, smash everything out the gate. You just have to keep doing it and you're going to be bad. Like, it's just one of those things that you've just got to kind of work on. But yeah, I like the idea as well that you were saying about like, is your audience there, like on that platform? And is it a space that you'd like to work on? Like, have you had like cases for like where, oh, my audience is over here, but I don't like that platform, I want to build it on somewhere else? Is that kind of like, what would you recommend people do when they're kind of in that scenario that they don't want to work on the platform where technically their audience should or could be?
Do you know, I've never had a situation where a client's had that. they've wanted to build, for example, on TikTok, but their target audience on LinkedIn. But what I have had, which I think comes under the same remit, is like people that love Instagram, for example, think they also should be on TikTok, and that should behind like, I need to be on a second, a third, a fourth, and fifth platform. Like, I had a client that came to me before. She was on Pinterest. She had 2 YouTube accounts. She had a podcast. She was on every platform basically and emailing her list weekly. And I just said to her, like, what are you doing? Like, what's working?
Was this us? No, like,
oh my
like,
goodness,
hold on.
no.
Called out, Jesus, yeah.
No, but I think we all do it. We all set up a space on each of these platforms, which I think is a good thing to like get your account handle on all of these platforms and have visibility with a link to your website that redirects them back to where they should be. But that doesn't mean you need to be posting there. It doesn't mean you need to be consistent there. You don't have to have this constant presence, and it waters down your community so much. Like, you need to like build one building at a time, essentially, one platform at a time, build it up, have a community there, and then decide on the second platform you want to go to. I would say all whilst emailing your list, even if it's just monthly. But definitely don't try and post like once a week on every platform. Like, it's so unnecessary, and it won't build warm leads. It won't build sales like that. It will just burn you out. It will exhaust you. It's not helpful.
And you just end up posting lower quality content everywhere because you're posting to 6 different places. You know, the load is so high.
Yeah. Or posting the same thing and like repurposing it across different accounts, and then the people that do follow you on multiple platforms will get the email, get the post on 2 platforms and be like, this is really irritating, you're like wasting my time essentially, and you'll actually like turn your audience off, which is so horrible to think about. But no,
and it's also not that easy to post on every platform as well, because they're all like different formats, they all want it in different ways. So as much as you think, oh well, like, I'm just repurposing the same content, it's still that time and effort, which, as you said, is then actually just annoying all your users. So do you have like a recommended amount that like people should use? Do you say just start off with 1 and then grow, or is there like you have to be on 2, or is there?
No, I would say start off with 1 in your email list. Always be building your email list, even if you're not emailing them. Be collecting the leads ready to do that. And then as your business grows, you can set up like welcome sequences and automations and stuff like that, so that your business becomes scalable from the start. But I would say focus on one platform. One platform is enough, honestly. Focus on one and be really committed to it and consistent to it, and then you can add second and third platforms, but you definitely don't need to be everywhere. And I also think if you are everywhere, how do you know what's working? Like, how do you know, like, even if you can see like where the leads have come from and the sales have converted and all of that data, like, how do you know that the content you're putting out on every single platform and the visibility that you're giving is successful? Because it can feel exhausting, and it's something I reevaluate with clients all the time, because just because you have done it that way or you have built a platform that way doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. And there's that whole thing, like in relationships, isn't there, where you give so much time to something, you think, well, I can't stop now. Like,
they call it the sunk cost fallacy, don't they?
That's it.
I've
never
heard it,
remember the words, but yes. And we do that with platforms. I think, like, I've got a client with a YouTube account and she's grown it to tens of thousands, and it's brilliant, and she's done it for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. Video out every single week, which is fab and amazing. Do you know what she said to me? Oh, I hate it. I can't be bothered to film them anymore. Like, and I was like, stop doing it then. We're going to launch a podcast, and like, yay, exciting, because she wants to have guests on and do podcasts, which I love. But that fear of like stopping or changing, evolving, like, I always talk about trial and evolution, because it's not error, because you learn, like we said, from those bad clients, you learn from those mistakes, and your preferences will change as well. Like, your lifestyle will change. Maybe you don't have a morning every week anymore to film a big hour-and-a-half long YouTube video. Like maybe that doesn't need to continue then.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important because we do put so much pressure on ourselves to show up and be everywhere and do everything, when actually what we should be doing is stripping it back, like you say, finding what's working for us and for our businesses, and like push forward with that. And then one day down the line, maybe you'll have a team, maybe you'll have stopped doing something you hate doing, you'll have a bit more time, you can reincorporate something else if that's a route that you want to go through. Yeah, I love it. I am a little bit conscious of time, and there is one thing that I would like to chat to you about before we sign this off. So I would like you to explain to us a little bit about oversharing and overselling and what that means in content and how we can avoid that.
Oh, okay. So oversharing and overselling, I think, go hand in hand. And again, comes back to like mindset fears. But I don't think you can overshare or oversell. So you don't need to avoid it, because I don't think you can do it. And I say this with love, because not everyone is like me, like extroverted, maximalist, that just wants to like be everyone's BFF. Like, I get it. Some people are introverted. I don't understand it, but I get it. Some people are. But I think, I don't think you can. And that's a wonderful thing though, because oversharing essentially is personal content, and overselling is essentially like sales content, or like your heavier marketing content that brings people in. So I think everyone should overshare and oversell more, because we undersell ourselves and undersell our services so much, like so much. And if you follow product-based businesses or brands or like household names, they all sell every single day without a doubt. Why? Because they're a business, and we don't act like a business a lot of the time. We act like that personal account that we grew up with, and then we worry that we're being unprofessional when we overshare or like talk about other things. For example, I will post a picture of my coffee or my nail varnish or my dog, or like going on a walk, all of that. I will also sell my services and passive offers throughout the day. And that combination of content is beautiful. That is where the magic is at.
Yeah.
So I think people need to lean into it more, and it will feel uncomfortable because you're not used to it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And it doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. I think the easy thing is often like the cop out, and actually, we need to do more of it, and we need to own it.
I totally agree. And I absolutely love that perspective. And as someone, like both me and Louise have both grown in Instagram, we have grown other social media platforms. When you are trying to like build an audience and have people that you have connections with and engage with, people who are like all business all the time, it's impossible to get in. You need those personal posts. You need to share, you know, like you say, your nails, your outfits, so that people can message you and be like, oh my God, I love that. It gives them an in. It gets those conversations started. Nobody's going to start a conversation with you unless they're already very familiar with your content on your like fifth sales story of the day. So putting that combo together is what it's all about. And I think it's so important.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love that idea as well, like that people buy from other people. I mean, that's what makes us different from like these massive brands and corporations where they obviously can't do that because, you know, they're like hundreds of people. You know, I think that's a unique point of us being like a mini or micro business. I think that's great. I think I struggle personally with the overselling bit. I think it's only because you're so aware of your content, but the idea of going, do you want to buy my stuff? Do you want to buy my stuff now? Do you want to buy my stuff now? I think that's definitely like a fear that I think a lot of business owners have. But I mean, do you ever get that feedback from like your audience that like, yes, I know that you sell stuff, Han. I know that I could work with you. Do you ever get that? Or are they just like, oh yeah, good for her?
No one ever says to me like that. And do you know what? People wouldn't. They would just go and unfollow you, and that's fine. Or they wouldn't engage, and they wouldn't show, like, you wouldn't show up in their feed, but you are the only person that sees 100% of your content.
That's it. That's what it is. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's like, I always come back to this saying of like, you are the waiter in your restaurant. Yes, you're also the owner, landlord of the restaurant. but you are the waiter, and if you're not handing out that menu, people aren't going to buy from you, and it's actually really crappy service if you let people sit there guessing what you're doing, because if you're not talking about your services, like, yeah, I get the mindset around it, but actually it's not about you, it's about them and helping other people. And whenever you feel worried about coming across like sleazy, icky, salesy, like the fact that you're even worried about that means you won't. And it's just, it becomes easier with time. It does.
Yeah.
And when you get that amazing feedback from clients, you're like, oh, it was worth it. It was worth that 5 minutes of discomfort talking about my new offer, because look, it's changed their life. And like, it's almost unfair to not talk about your services like that.
Yeah,
I
love that.
absolutely love that.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing. This idea of it's service, you're giving a service, and if you're not helping people who need that service to find it, then you're giving them a disservice. So I absolutely love that. I think that is an amazing sentiment to end this episode on. I hope that that's going to give people so much motivation for their marketing into 2024 and beyond. So before we wrap up, tell us about how people can find you, what can they download from you, where can they work with you, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, I feel like I've said this throughout, haven't I? But Instagram is where I live. So socialhan or socialhan.com is my website as well.
Amazing. And have you got a freebie that people can download if they want a little taster of stuff that you offer?
I have got 30 free content templates, Canva content templates, which you can download on my website or in my bio link, which will help you with creating more content.
Love it. And we've seen them in action. They are gorgeous. So if that is something that you need help with, definitely download those. Massive thank you to you, Han, for joining